Julie and JP over here at Book of Hours. Today's Monday, July 27th, and this is our weekly recap on Bookmark.
Yeah, it's an hour program that we put together once a week to talk about just things that are going on in general, news stories or not, and things that are going on in your lives, our lives, and what have you. So today, it's been a really hard week. I know we keep saying that, but I think this week especially, for a lot every week, the age of COVID. But we've noticed in our own lives, as well as the people who have been contacting us and telling us their stories, that it's been kind of rough. It's been rough out there this week. Mm-hmm. But in general.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah, so, we've noticed that there's a lot of anxiety and depression going on. People are reporting to us, and we're feeling it as well. People look to us for a lot of, we supply a lot of information out
guidance.
There. And they look to us for guidance, we find. But, the thing is that we're going through the same thing that everybody else is. So we want you to know that. I think that kind of helps with that guidance, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Because we're not immune, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Nope, we're not.
We're all going through as I wrote here, changes. So
yeah.
I don't know. You want to talk about?
Well, I just want to let people know that sometimes when you're going through these really remarkable, emotional roller coaster rides over the last 4 or 5 months, you're not going to make the greatest decisions every step of the way. I mean, it's a known fact that when you're depressed or when you're anxious, you don't think things through. And, we've made mistakes, and, other people have made mistakes as well. Mm-hmm. So you just have to try to fix the mistakes that you've made and not do them again, and understand and not beat yourself up over them,
right.
Because it's not your fault.
Right, and that's something that I do to myself a lot. Is I beat myself up over mistakes, and they can be anything really minor or anything like bigger that may involve money or even like breaking something accidentally, tripping over something. So you have to be careful and be mindful of your surroundings and what you're doing, but. Also, if it does happen, it happens. And so you just have to, be nice to yourself.
Right.
Especially now.
Yeah, for sure. And, don't sequester inside. I mean, I think I've been inside a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. And I want to go out and experience, life and events and people. But when I do go outside and the whole world is, in a cult, and I'm not part of that cult by choice, it's difficult.
It is difficult. I'm finding it very difficult. Yesterday, we were going to go to a restaurant, and we both felt very anxious about doing that. And it
just
really,
to go to a restaurant.
Yeah, and it really affected me because, as you know, our stance on wearing the mask is that, we feel it's an impinging on our rights and freedoms. But not only that, but it's taking away our humanity and takes away from that connection that you have with other people, and it makes you feel more on guard. I don't like to look at people when I have one of those things on my face. And in fact, I try to keep it off my face as much as possible. When I get into the store that makes me put it on before I go. I mean, literally, they have people standing out front that make you put it on before you go in. I take it off when I'm inside the store. It's big enough I can do that. But in other situations, I can't. But, as we've been saying, and this is just a side note, as we've been saying, you do have the right to say, I have a medical exemption. If they're going to fight back or push back on that, and you still need to get into that store, then deal with it, but deal with it the best you can. That said, okay, we were going to go to this restaurant, and we called ahead, and they these ridiculous rules and regulations surrounding it. A thinking person who is anathema to this whole anathema. That's the word I'm looking for. See, I mean, it's even got my vocabulary all messed up.
Yeah.
Anathema to this whole thing. It's like, well, okay, you have to wear it when you walk in, and then when you get up to go to the bathroom. But as long as you're sitting at the table and there's a drink in front of you, you can have it off. So it's just arbitrary and weird and punitive, and and we know that's the whole point, is that it's punitive. And so because of that punitive aspect to it, it's hard to relax in an environment where you used to relax. You used to go to a restaurant to talk and to relate to people and to relax and to enjoy yourself and enjoy food that you wouldn't normally have or make in your own home. And so that really is hard to deal with, especially for us.
Well, I think they're trying to take away the power of the third space.
That's the other thing, yeah.
The power of the third space, third space is like your coffee shop, your restaurant, your diner, your favorite little watering hole, your dive bar, your cafe. Third spaces are where people meet and ideas are formed. People meet and talk over coffee or a martini or a pastry or dinner, and next thing you know, ideas come about as a result of the meeting of the minds and the meeting of the hearts. And that's how society grows in general. That's how society moves forward. That's how it evolves. That's how great ideas are formed. Great ideas are formed in the third space from individuals. They don't have to come from bureaucrats. They don't have to come from oligarchs, or the technocrats or the aristocrats. They come from regular old people like me and you. And what they want to do is, squash the ideas. They want to take away the ideas. And so in order to do that, you've got to shut people up and you've got to keep people from communicating effectively in the third space. So that's what that's about. There's also another aspect to this, which is very much just, it's a very cut and dry answer. Those people that are following the rigid COVID rules, if you have a coffee shop and you're having an event and, a bunch of people are going to come in to that event, then you have to follow the rules because maybe that coffee shop has taken out a COVID loan. And in order to qualify for the COVID loan, the coffee shop owner has to have all of the patrons and anybody involved in any event or buying coffee or whatever has to have them follow the rules as well, or else yoink, they take the loan away, maybe shut down the coffee shop. So a lot of these businesses are just going through the motions. They don't really believe in a virus. They don't really believe in the war on a cold, but they do want their money. They do want to maintain, their business. They do want to keep their business going. What they don't know is that they're going to be in debt for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
There's no getting out of a COVID loan debt, from what I understand. I mean, I don't know the details of, the interest and all that stuff, but there's no getting out of it. There's no way in this economy and in this environment that we live right now that you'll ever be able to pay back any loans you have, any credit card debt you have, any COVID loans. It's not happening. It's not possible. That's a fantasy if you think that you can pay it back, unless you're in the managerial class and you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to implement poverty and to implement loans which generate more poverty.
Yeah.
So, or AI systems or tech systems. Unless you're of those two classes or in that class of those two types of businesses, you're never going to be able to pay back your loans.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So there's so many different reasons why people are, forcing the general population to wear a mask when you go into a store or a coffee shop or a restaurant, and you as the patron are just trying to have a regular experience, and you're getting hit in the face with basically arbitrary fascism that comes right out of the movie Idiocracy. It literally does. It's like they literally took the blueprint of that movie and they're using it as the standard by which we live our lives right
Except
now.
this time it isn't funny. It isn't cute and funny.
Yeah, it's not cute and funny. It's not it's pretty fascist.
Yeah.
So.
Well, going back to the third space idea too, and I forgot about that. We were talking about this the other day. We do some of our best talking when we're in the kitchen or other rooms where you're doing stuff that's just normal, every day. But we do some of our best work, or we get some of our best ideas in the third space. Unfortunately, we've been cut off. We feel we've been cut off from that, so we've had to kind of
We've had to improvise
and
yeah.
drink on the porch.
Luckily, we have a porch. I mean, we have
Yeah.
a pretty great porch.
Yeah, it's a
But,
nice porch. But I guess
you
my
know,
point is that
yeah.
you brought this up yesterday when we were
Uh-huh.
talking, and it's like, well, we've done some of our best work in the third space, and I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Right, so, you know,
even
the-
even in shitty third spaces,
Right.
we've done some good stuff, some good work.
I mean, the very platform that you're watching us on right now, which is called Book of Hours, the idea came from, you know, sitting outside of the home. And, you know, so a third space is any place that's outside of the home and outside of work.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a church social. It could be, you know, a picnic. It could be a coffee shop or a restaurant, a bar, whatever. It's a third space. It doesn't represent your home and it doesn't represent your work. It's, you know, so to take that away means that what they're doing is they're taking away the ideas that the individual, whether you're, you know, wherever you are across the globe, you know, they're taking away the individual ideas in order to make a better life, in order to come up with something different, something creative, something new. And that's kind of an abomination against the soul,
It really
in my
is.
opinion.
Yeah,
So,
it really is. And so, you know, if you want to take that and move it into the next thing that we kind of wanted to discuss. So we've been seeing a lot of, because of the groups we follow on Facebook and other places, we've been seeing a lot of discrimination against people who are not wearing their mask. Would you like your little fan?
yeah, it's upstairs.
Yeah? Oh, is it upstairs? Okay, I thought it was down here. Oh well.
On my
Okay,
console,
sorry.
upstairs.
It's very hot in the East Coast right now. And
it's
speaking
hot.
of, you know, masks and discrimination and the heat, Marion Cuomo, is that his name? Governor Cuomo?
I know we barely. Isn't it Mario Cuomo?
Mario Cuomo?
I don't know. We
I don't
barely
know.
pay attention.
I
Andrew
just,
Cuomo,
but I've
who
been
knows?
seeing his tweets, and he's just a
He's a fascist.
fascist.
Anybody with the name Cuomo is a
Well, and you know the thing is he's a bully and a sadist, because one of the tweets that came out was like, I know it's hot, but COVID doesn't care, and blah blah blah, and I was like, God, you're a dick.
Right. So basically, what this is sadism, just on steroids. I mean, basically, you know, I don't know if you want to. This is conversational, so
Yeah,
you know,
go for it.
This thing has really jumped the shark. I
Yeah.
mean, we are talking about bullies on the playground that have no rhyme nor reason to their fascist orders and their fascist mandates and their sadistic, you know, disgusting, you know, overtures, whether they're speaking, you know, through Twitter or speaking in front of groups of people, you know, on the media, whatever. I mean, we're just talking like just out of control, totally. I can't even fathom how stupid this is, like the level of stupidity of all of this. You know, I mean, we could talk about the video, the ad that came through on Vice UK.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because we wanted to talk a little bit about language around, but also just like the things that people are saying. So yeah, let's talk about that, because this, like you said, this thing's jumped the shark.
It's totally jumped the shark. Okay, so, you know, it's no longer about, you know, wear a mask because, you know, we want to flatten the curve or we want to keep the, you know, the virus down or whatever. You still have some sanctimonious pricks out there saying the most cliched, like, ridiculous terms like, I wear my mask to keep you safe and you wear your mask to keep me safe. I mean, that's just like something straight out of, like, you know, me likey, you know,
Yeah.
the dude from The Simpsons.
The kid from The Simpsons,
You know,
yeah.
that's just the stupidest thing. So it's gone even beyond that. You know, it's like
I'm essential.
right. I'm essential. So the what's his name? The Chief Wiggum's kid.
Yeah, I can't think of his
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
Someone will know, and then they'll
Yeah.
put it in the notes. They'll put it in the.
Well, we'll flash it up.
You're right.
Right.
But so this ad came through Vice UK, and it was this vegan who was like a bodybuilder. You know, and of course she's the perfect age. She's probably like, you know, mid-20s, so very like nubile and very like fertile. So she's the perfect age to represent the message that they're sending. And she looks like a porn star. And she's like, I can't even say it. She
All right, I'll say it. She
You
talks.
can't even say it.
She talks about how
To fight COVID.
To fight COVID, you can drink semen. And she
Yeah.
had it in a refrigerator, and I didn't watch the whole video because I just was like,
I did, unfortunately.
I was just like, oh.
Well,
my
and
God.
then I noticed, and so what happened was it was shared on his Facebook page, but then I noticed like a couple hours later, Vice UK actually took it down, but it's still trending on Twitter. So it's the whole video is still up on Twitter, and she goes
We'll
through.
find it and show some of it.
I mean, it's so bad. She goes through how she's like receiving gifts of semen from her boyfriend who's, appropriately socially distancing. So he's leaving semen at her doorstep, and she's getting up in the morning all fresh-faced and dewy skinned and all this, and in her little tank top, and she's putting it in her breakfast shake and drinking it and going, and she's showing you the semen in her cup, showing it to you.
I looked into the health benefits of semen for skin use, as I have rosacea, which is a sensitive skin issue.
And then I just apply it directly to the face.
I gave it a go and it worked amazing for me. It made my skin so soft, so healthy, so fresh. I then began taking semen smoothies as part of my daily routine, and the benefits have been amazing. Hi, my name is Tracy Kiss. I am 32 years old and I am a natural vegan bodybuilder from London in England. I haven't had the cold or flu in years. I don't remember the last time I was sick, simply because I lead a healthy, active lifestyle and consume semen on a regular basis. This
has literally jumped the shark. I don't know how many times. Can we just stop?
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause it-
you know what? If you're going to wear a mask, then the challenge that I have for you is if I see you wear a mask and I know you and you know me and you're in my neighborhood, I am going to ask you to present your cup of semen and drink it in front of me, because you're not fighting COVID appropriately enough
Right.
without drinking your semen. And that includes men and women. So that's my challenge to people who I see, people maybe who live across the street from me, or people who live down the street from me, or people who live down the way from me who I see occasionally on the street and say hi to, and you're wearing a mask. I want you to present your cup of semen, and I want you to drink it in front of me so that I know that you are protecting yourself from COVID appropriately.
So I'm not sure where that even came from. I remember in 39, 40 years ago, I knew this young gay man, and he told me that semen always cleared up his acne and shit. And I was
she
like,
mentioned that too in her
Did she?
video.
Did she really?
The hooer, the
interesting.
the prostitute.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, she mentioned that too.
The thing is it's like, okay, so ignore what I hate. What I find amazing is that these same people will disparage vitamin C and zinc and all the things that you normally would take to fight a cold, which is what this fucking thing is supposed to be. So you can't do that, or you can't take the quinine that's out there.
Who we should send this video to?
But yet semen is the thing that you should take, which doesn't make any sense to me.
We should send this video to the stores that we've reached out to here in Pittsburgh and said, why are you violating my protective status as someone who can't wear a mask? And it's clearly stated in the mask mandate, which isn't the law, that there is a provision for people who have asthma, or people who just for whatever medical reason
Or religious
reason can't wear a mask, and they're violating their own mask mandate. So they're cherry picking what part of the mandate they want to listen to or they want to follow. So the governor of the state that we currently live in, which is the state of Pennsylvania, put a mandate out, which is not a law. And he said there is a portion of there that says those who qualify under a medical exemption don't have to wear a mask. So I walk into a store, oh my God, put a mask on. It's like, well, what about because of the mandate? Well, what about the part of the mandate that says that, I'm medically exempt?
Oh, it's a store policy.
I tell you what, I will wear a mask if you provide a cup of semen. East End Food Co-op and Market Street Grocery in downtown Pittsburgh. I will happily wear a mask if you will please provide me a cup of semen. So I can throw it in your face, because I won't drink it. But
They can drink it.
But you can drink it.
You can drink it.
You can drink it.
Yeah.
it's so important to you, because I find it really interesting that the health food section of East End Food Co-op, which is like a Rainbow Grocery, which is like an organic grocery co-op here in Pittsburgh, that they will advocate for the wearing of the mask, which equals advocating for the drinking of semen, but they won't advocate for taking zinc or vitamin C or a healthy lifestyle.
I brought that up to them
Yeah.
months ago when all this bullshit started, and when they wanted people to start wearing masks in the, this is probably like March or April. And they were like, oh, but we never said that we were medical people, blah, blah, blah. And that they still like say that you should wear a mask and social distance. So it's like this disconnect and this...
It's cherry picking.
It's cherry picking, and it's basically they're following rules that have been given to them because they either have taken money or they believe in this bullshit so hard that they're just going to, force it down your throat no matter what. Like, a cup of semen.
Maybe I should go to the market thing that the coffee shop down the street is doing.
Yeah.
What is it? The fair. There's like a market fair happening down the street from where we live at this coffee shop.
Mm-hmm. And sell semen.
Yeah.
That's a
And
good
say
idea.
it's for COVID.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would like that.
I would like that a lot. Yeah. Okay. Well, especially since it's got a feminist aspect to it,
Yeah.
which hey, we're all for. We don't have a problem with that part, but the part we have a problem with is the social distancing and masking that they're requiring patrons to observe. So maybe the semen is a good idea. Oh, we'll see. We'll look into that. Okay. We'll have to get some of those little Dixie cups.
So the other things that we wanted to talk about, language around the mask issue. I don't. What does it say?
Oh, the ridiculous stories. Oh, right. So there's some
So,
stories that are coming out. So that was one of them, the semen story. But also, so apparently, I saw this story come up that the Marlins baseball team, like 12 of the members of their team have come down with COVID. And so they had to postpone 2 games, and it affected other sports teams, sports ball teams.
Sports ball.
And Julie was saying, I said, well, I didn't know they were actually playing the games. I didn't know they were actually playing baseball. The season's happening. She says to me, well, they're playing to empty stadiums. And I was like, what? I didn't know that because I don't follow this shit.
Yeah, I know. I barely follow it. The only reason I know that they were playing to virtual viewership or whatever was because at one of the games, Fauci threw out the ball or something, and everybody was making fun of him because he had his mask off at some times, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was basically like, ball players who are the most narcissistic and need so much and performers and who need so much attention back from the audience in order to do well are like playing to empty stadiums where there's thousands of seats that are empty, but it's being streamed online, like all the all the musicians that we love to see at festivals are now playing at online festivals, which we just ignore. So it's just
and then the pretense of like some of these radio stations like KEXP in Seattle and KCRW in Los Angeles that are like doing, they've always had in-studio performances, which has always been sort of like that remote, like audience kind of thing, but they're performing in the studio, so it kind of makes it kind of cool. But now the studio is crossed out and now it says at home, and so they're playing to you from their home, which is just pretentious bullshit.
Yeah,
and it's just like it takes the joy out of everything, I have to say.
I mean, Andrew Bird looks like he's suicidal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm actually wearing one of his shirts. But
when he goes live on Facebook to do a live-in session, you should look him up. He's a really good artist. But, I mean, he literally looks suicidal. He's just like, this fucking sucks. And he's a brilliant person.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's already written a song about the ridiculousness of this.
I hope so. I hope he's, like, unlike A.C. Newman of the New Pornographers, I hope he doesn't buy into this bullshit.
Right. Our audience probably has no clue about
who we're talking about,
because JP and I have a different musical tastes. We're not into...
We have the same taste, but different from people.
Different from most people. Yeah. Like, people are like, look at this great band! And it's like Aerosmith or Grateful Dead, and I'm like, oh, I don't really know. don't really like
Well,
that.
that's the thing about Pittsburgh too. Is it's like I made this joke to a friend of ours who's from here, and I said it feels like it's either 1979 or 1997.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and
And when
it
we
just
first
went-
moved here, it was just so.
And if you were watching this, and you remember
know
that
who
comment,
you are.
and you know who you are. Sorry, but it's true.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. It's true. I mean, because the one radio station, it's a public radio station here in town that's, like it's all music, right? It's
Right.
all pop music or like rock, album-oriented rock, which is like a term that's like, almost 50 years old. But anyway.
I know, it's like, I don't get it. Like the kids here that are like millennial age or maybe just a teensy bit younger or older, and they're running, like, who are those kids that run the station up, or used to run the station?
They used to run the station
at
the
Pitt?
At Pitt, yeah.
And it's
yeah.
like, they have the same kind of music that their very uncool parents who are like our age, I guess, have.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
they actually,
or grandparents maybe.
that
I'm just
station
like-
actually has to follow a college radio format, so it has
Oh.
to be indie rock or something like that, and it can't be
But-
commercial. But the thing is it's I find it to be like the most middle of the road indie rock that's out there.
Right.
I
I used to make fun of them
I know you did.
relentlessly
I know
on
you
Twitter.
did. I know you
I
did.
used to be like, you guys need to get a clue. Go watch Bagel Radio or go listen to Bagel Radio and start playing things like Savages and Plague Vendor and who's Parquet Courts and just anybody, Soccer Mummy, anybody. Just
They
play.
started upping their game a bit, but it was.
But they're still playing like
but
who's
what?
the grandfather of punk? He's really popular.
Iggy Pop or something?
Well, Iggy Pop is actually kind of cool. No, the guy who has the 2 autistic children, Neil.
Neil Young.
Oh, Neil Young, yeah.
Ah.
So they were playing like Neil Young, like the grandfather of grunge, they call him in San
Yeah.
Francisco, and I'm just like, no,
Yeah, no, I don't
don't
think
play
so.
that.
Well,
You're
that's
like
the other-
20, don't play that.
Right. Well, that's the other thing about the public radio station. No, just a last final note on the college radio station. When they did not have DJs to play, they had a robot that would play music, and it was just automated, and you didn't hear any. So during the summer when school was out, you just hear music, and there was no DJ interacting with you and telling you what you heard and stuff. But you could be on the Twitter feed, and it'll tell you what they played. Okay, so anyway, I'm sure that
At least
we can't get it from here on the radio, so we'd have to listen to it on an app, and
Why?
whatever.
When we
So-
have better-
right, exactly. So
It's just-
exactly. So there's probably the robot right now. Anyway, so and it has been since March, I'm sure.
At least Ted isn't a robot.
Right, yeah. So on Bagel Radio,
Yeah.
shout out to him. But he does a live show on Fridays.
Yeah.
And it's 8 hours. So
And you'll
that's-
find all the good new music there.
but the local public radio station that's music only, like I said, it's either 1979 or 1997, and it's weird because it's like all the music stopped in 2000. Like there was that early indie rock period in the early 2000s, and then it feels like everything kind of stops in their taste wise, and they stop playing music after that period. And even though there's new music, it sounds the same as like what was coming out in 2005. But
Either that or it's like heavy black metal. Like,
well,
You
yeah,
know,
in
it's
Pittsburgh,
like-
yeah, not on the station, but in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh in
But
general,
the station, it's like I hadn't heard like Springsteen, the Stones, and like other bands of that era so much since I started listening to them, and I actually had to stop listening to them, even when I was driving, for a living. I had to stop listening to them because it was like, oh my God, this is like the music that I stopped listening to in 1979 when I was in high school.
When it was boring then.
When it was boring then, and you had the likes of Iggy Pop and the Devo and the Pretenders and all these new wave and punk bands coming out, and that was much more interesting than Springsteen any day. So. Anyway, music. So you've gotten a taste of our musical.
Yeah.
We're kind of.
we are definitely ahead of the game.
Well, we're kind of assholes about it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well.
So
the next-
speaking of assholes.
Yeah, right?
So there's a video going around, and it's this Yugoslavian woman, apparently, or I don't know what she's from. Her country was Yugoslavia now. I don't know what area of Yugoslavia she's from, but you've probably seen this video going around. We'll play a little clip.
This is my message for the greatest country in the world. In the light of the recent events in the United States, I felt morally obliged to shed light on a very similar chain of events that took place in my country during the 90s. The cause of those events was the same: a constantly re-emerging ultimate evil, nihilistic, non-theistic religion/cult that caused hundreds of millions of deaths in the 20th century and countless suffering. Now, proponents of that religion want to run the experiment once again, and in that experiment, you, people of America, will be lab mice. Not so long ago, I was a lab mouse of dictators in my country. That country was Yugoslavia. Rather than giving you lessons about history of my country, I want to give you the timeline of the events which led to an extremely bloody war and dissolution of Yugoslavian Federacy.
Okay, so it's a weird video. She addresses the greatest nation on earth, or the greatest country on earth, and
I'm like, what? Which country is that again?
I don't know, but she talks about the United States, and the thing is that what is going on out there, and she seems to, she's all, well, she, how many problems with this video? I don't know. She's addressing the United States, even though this is a worldwide problem that's going on. The things that are going on are global, and it's about global governance that's coming from the ruling class, and it's corporate fascism. It's the ruling class doing a big overreach, and I can tell by your face, Julie, that you're really impressed with this woman. Oh, she's awful, and
So stupid.
and what kills me is at the beginning she's like, I will not give you the history of my country. I will only give you the timeline. And then she proceeds to give you the history. and
the history started in 1989.
1989, whereas like she fails to recognize that this infighting goes back hundreds, it goes back centuries. And she also points out that communism is basically the fault. Not that we're supporting communism, and we're not supporting
communism.
But this, she makes communism the fault for what's going on here. And to tell you the truth, Tito actually brought together these various parts of what they then called Yugoslavia. So Yugoslavia was made up of a federation of states. And, it was like Croatia, and it was Croatia, and it was, I don't remember all of them, but you go to Wikipedia, and I hate Wikipedia, but at least, if you want something, in this case, down the middle, it'll tell you basically facts that were going on.
Basic stuff.
And, and the thing is the fascists, and she does call out, she says, socialism is at fault, and they started calling it National Socialism. And it's like, okay, so fine, whatever, Slobodan Milosevic came out of Croatia, and he was a fascist, and I didn't watch the whole video because I couldn't deal with it.
You can't stomach stuff like that.
No.
So what this is enough, and it started trending really fast. And again, so you have to watch out for videos like this. This is my marketing eye taking over.
Right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but just like with Jeremy Elliott's video, with what was the iconic podcast?
Yeah, the iconic
and
podcast.
suddenly, out of nowhere, it just trended like crazy. It got 10 million views in 2 days. It was just this crazy super popular video. It was on all formats: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, embedded Facebook posts. It was all over the place. So, there's a lot of money behind that, and there may not be a lot of money behind hers, but it went viral so fast.
And
so it's not really organic. It's meant to get a reaction from you,
right,
and to get you off course,
Because I was looking at all the there were tons of responses to at least one. There's several posts out there. It's out there.
So a lot of people have mirrored it.
Right, exactly. And I was looking at some of the reactions, some of the responses, and they're all reactionary, and they're all she's 100% on point. I grew up in Yugoslavia and blah blah blah. And it's like what she fails to talk about though is like the history of like at least the last 40, 50 years. And like in 1980, the Tito, the guy I was talking about, actually died, and so some of the infighting started after that happened, and by 1989, she credits the falling of the Berlin Wall as being the point at which things started taking place. But it was the cracks in the facade were recurring before that, and the different states within the Federation of Yugoslavia were starting to fight for independence already before that even happened. And by the time she cites as the reason for it happening, Slobodan Milosevic had already taken over as leader of Croatia, and he started causing problems then. So the what was the communist state, the army started supporting him, and she kind of calls that out a little bit, but she doesn't really identify what actually was taking place. So okay, I don't want to talk about Yugoslavian history at all.
Well, it's just this once again it promotes this insane reactionary language that it's all about Marxism and communism and it's Maoist, and it's like it's not, because they're not really that organized. Like there isn't that much power. I'm sorry, but the communists don't have more power than the trillions of dollars that are funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and all of its affiliates throughout, and all of the corporations that are framing this thing, from every little tiny little tiny facet of your life, from the educational industry to the way your utilities run, to the arts or whatever's left of them, to your socialist or socialism standards of living, like you're used to, like your libraries and the way you pay your police and all that. Like, you can't. I'm sorry, but communists don't have like trillions of dollars behind them to initiate these fascist changes that you're witnessing in your life.
And if you look at the things that are being
corporations do,
that are being defunded, and the things that are closing, those are all things that are socialist in nature. Museums and libraries and schools and those kinds of things that were supported by the communists are being taken away. So and yet business is actually being lifted up and paid for and taken over by the state, and all these other things that do fit into fascism. So there's a new blog post out from Winter Oak that talks about the history of fascism in Italy, and how the liberals actually fed into that and helped push it forward and bring about some of the change that occurred in Italy, in 1919 and 1920, and how Mussolini had come from a more socialist side, but actually dropped that in favor of the capitalist industries and the factory owners, and really made it so that the socialists and communists who were in the trade unions, they busted them up basically and made it so that they were either in jail or they left the country. So this action that's taking place is more along the lines of fascism, and it's globalist in its reach, and what we're seeing.
It's not just the United States.
And it's not just the United States. It's all over the world, and it's the World Economic Forum policies. It's policies coming out of the UN and the Rockefeller Foundation and all these other organizations. What was the one? The Hewlett Foundation. The two people in the Hewlett Foundation. So all these things that are coming together from the nonprofits and the NGOs and This is not communism, folks. This is communitarianism. This is fascism. This is the technocracy. So these are things that are going on that are happening. But yet you have people coming out and saying it's Marxism, saying it's communism. I will say this: the rhetoric that's coming out of these movements and organizations that are at the forefront and leading the protests are using leftist language. Okay. But that's just for effect.
Right.
That's just to get you thinking that it's,
that's just to get you to go hate on your communist buddy who's like just trying to bake bread. I mean, come on. That's lame.
All right. So
I think I want to talk about Instagram, our Instagram page, because I'm really proud of it. It's like 100% like his baby. So, well, actually, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
I come up with the words and the poetry, and then he puts it to music and art
and visuals, yeah.
and visuals. So it's called Book of Hours Art, and
Yeah.
it's on Instagram.
So we're promoting this. Go to Instagram and look up Book of Hours Art.
Yeah, please do if you have an Instagram.
I'll put an example of one of our videos.
Question though for you, I heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's true because you're more tech minded than I am, but I heard a rumor that a lot of people were starting to, speak in memes to get their message across because the algorithms can't really, because when the algorithms go to take down your Facebook page or take down your YouTube page, it's not personal. It's a machine literally looking for keywords and then just wiping you out.
Yeah.
It's not somebody going, I'm going to go after, Ben Jones or something.
Yeah,
it's not like that.
Yeah, they don't have enough staff to do that.
It's algorithms, and from what I understand, the software, the predictive programming or the software tends to ignore like videos and memes and anything that's not that's more static and not just text.
Yeah.
Like they're looking at text right now when you upload onto your Facebook or Twitter page. But if you speak with memes, which are like screenshots of things sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It may be harder for them to go after some of the text-based graphics, okay, that are memes. So especially when they have photos in them and stuff, when there's a lot of content. Right now, yeah, that's probably the case. I do know that there is AI technology to review videos. We have had videos taken down on Vimeo, and I think they're using a very harsh algorithm to go after video content on videos. YouTube, there's so much content out there, even with all the AI software that can review videos, they probably don't have enough resources to go after it, or they only go after stuff that's monetized, or I really don't know.
Or they go after people that they've gone
after
before.
names, so they might put in keywords and key names and go after certain people. So I'm not sure, but yeah. Now those memes that you do on Facebook that are text based, that people will type in and they're text based, they probably can go after those because they have text as the basis.
Yeah.
But we haven't been finding as much in our sphere of influence, and our friends I've been seeing them getting taken down as much.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have.
But I think eventually
people are always announcing that they're in Facebook jail. It's kind of funny.
So eventually they'll go after the poorly crafted or poorly like 3-generation copy paste type of graphics. But right now, I think it's hard for them to see that. But and we talked about AI in a couple episodes ago, where it's actually writing some of the content out there in these stories. And Julie did a video about how you put in a term and it will automatically, you'll see like that term gets thrown back at you in the form of a story.
Right.
And it's
written by this innocuous name called staff.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
not really a person,
Yeah.
that's written it.
Right.
And I think we're seeing a lot of that in general. Like, before we move on to the next and final thing we want to say, just very quickly, you posted a CBS article that said that the governor of Georgia was, strongly encouraging the city officials to stop forcing the citizens in these various cities of Georgia to wear a mask. And then 5 days later, The Hill writes an article with the exact opposite language.
Right.
So either the governor got his mind right, or
In
the
essence.
AI is just pumping out bullshit stories to make you totally crazy, and that's usually what the media is
and
for.
the byline wasn't a name; it was the Hill staff, wasn't it?
I don't know that. I don't know because I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't
remember.
confirm that. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah,
So I don't
remember
know.
either, yeah.
But so I mean, media, especially corporate media. So The Hill, CBS, MSNBC, NPR, New York Times, anything that's corporate backed is meant to gaslight you. It's meant to confuse you and gaslight you.
Right.
And it's cherry picking, certain concepts and certain storylines, and then rearranging them from there. So
Right.
it's very confusing, and it's meant to drive you crazy. And I see a lot of people are kind of spinning out right now because it's like 1 minute it's one thing, and then it's the next thing, and people are trying to keep up with all these different stories. It's like, keep trying to keep up with the stories.
Yeah.
You already know, in your sovereign self, you already know the truth. So create your own stories.
Right.
Start blogging your own stuff.
Well,
Start influencing
and
people.
stop trying to convince people on social media. You're not going to convince anybody of your opinion on social media. You're just not. And we've had people come on to my page that try to dispute
like, what are you doing
anything
here?
we
No way.
say. Right, exactly. And and we insult them, and they keep coming back, and they say, "You can't insult me. It doesn't end like that. You can't." Just
Yeah, it does.
Well, yeah, I can actually say "buzz off," and it's like. And I insult them, and they say, "But I have, 4 college degrees, and you know who you are, who you are. Who's, if you're watching this, you know who you are."
It's another
and I said,
skin.
and yet you still keep coming on my Facebook page, acting like a complete ass,
Right.
And yet I still insult you, and so
Well, like I've said many times throughout this entire process, it takes 12 to 16 weeks from what I've read. This is anecdotal, so don't quote me on this, but from what I understand, it takes 12 to 16 weeks to indoctrinate into a cult. So the maskers, those who are virtue signaling with their mask, they're in a cult. So you can't reason with people who are having a psychotic episode.
Right.
You just can't.
Yeah.
They're in a cult.
Yeah.
So don't waste your time.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Don't spin out. Don't spin your wheels. Just talk about what you're interested in.
Tell them to provide you with a cup of semen and drink it on camera
There you go. Yeah.
to fight COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So go back to our Instagram page, Book of Hours Art, and there's some fun stuff up there. And we're putting up some of our longer videos too on Instagram TV. So IGTV has some of our new model series up there. I don't think I put up communitarianism yet. Oh yeah, I did actually. Yeah. So we're picking up some viewers that way. But go there because we put up extra content that we don't put out on YouTube. And like I said before, we're going to open up to different channels. So we're going to try to start, opening out to other like BitChute and some of the other ones that are out there.
Oh, just to create,
Mirroring.
safety
safety.
in numbers.
But just to kind of pick up new people. So speaking of trying to pick up new viewers and people following us, we are really looking to build our audience. We people literally tell us, you need to have more people following you. There should be more views on your videos. And we agree.
Yeah, we agree.
So what we'd like you to do is on YouTube is to share and share alike. Please get our stuff out there.
Yeah.
And if you have a channel and you want to mirror our stuff, please do that. And run it live. For whatever.
Yeah.
But we're also looking for media outlets to partner with. We would like to. We were talking about different media outlets that are out there. Some of them have changed up since March, and we don't have the same worldview anymore. So we're not so interested in reaching out to them. However, if you know of some people and some media outlets that are out there that have some of the same worldview out there, like we have been watching UK Column. We have been watching.
Clearly, we gave them a cameo.
I know we gave them a cameo in our latest video. But there's probably some other ones. I mean, so if you have any ideas out there, please send them to us, because we don't watch everything, of course, but you might watch something that we're not watching. So if you have any ideas, that would be great. If you can provide any introductions, that would be awesome. So for instance, about a month ago, we were interviewed by the Truth Warrior. The Truth Warrior.
David Whitehead.
None shall pass.
Stop it.
Anyway.
David Whitehead. Right.
I was thinking that Monty Python sketch. Anyway, and it was great because we talked for like 3 hours. Wasn't it? Like 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was a long time, but it was a fun conversation.
It was super fun. Yeah.
We're from different sides of the political realm, but we have the same worldview.
Oh, totally.
And
reminds me of John a little bit. My brother.
Yeah.
Kind of conservative, but funny.
Yeah, and we had a great time. So we would also be interested in providing maybe like if we were we do video, right? But if you looked at like a media outlet, like as if it were a newspaper or a TV show or something, we could run a segment monthly. That would be 5 minutes or whatever. It would be like the equivalent of a video column or a video segment that we could provide to this and it could be funny, it could be serious, it could be whatever.
Impactful.
Yeah. Because we're visually oriented and it's like visual poetry that we like to kind of approach it as. We would love to work with a media outlet that would be interested in running content that is normally not what they do.
Right.
Okay.
Something different.
Yeah.
Right. That's very creative.
What is the other the British guy that you like to listen to now and then? He's audio though.
Oh yes, Spiked.
Spiked, yeah.
Spiked would be.
That would be interesting.
Spiked would be good.
But they're audio, so
they're audio, but they could run an art piece of ours and just say
if they were interested. If they were interested.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot, so I try to give. I try to give credit to those people that have influenced us. Spiked, John Stepling, Haruki Hamada, Corey Morningstar, of course, Alison McDowell, and then as far as the media people, it's like UK Column, Spiro, even some of the more just straight up like informational channels like Church Dog 42 and even Aunt Bibi. I just feel like we need to coalesce a little tighter.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I felt like the piece I wrote today, the blog piece I wrote today, was sort of that call to those of us who are the keyboard warriors and the information specialists, and this is a job. This is a job. We're trying to save the planet.
I know, right? And the human race.
We're trying to save the human race
from the assholes. Even if you have the technical ability to create a network, a media network that would incorporate some of these people we were just talking about, who are just kind of floating out there on YouTube, and running a network of just shows that right? That would be kind of interesting. So if you are a technically minded or technically savvy kind of person that could do something like that, that would be awesome. Give us contact us, info@book-of-hours.com, or reply to this video on YouTube. Yeah.
There's a couple of channels that we follow that do exactly that. So Age of Spin, remember Age of Spin? They had their own entrance, their own introduction to the video, but then the video would be mirrored, usually from Journeyman Pictures or from another source. So they did that. And then there's another one we just started following that does the exact same thing. a lot of the videos that they upload in Mirror are from people who don't speak English. So there's that translation issue. But if we could find somebody like that who is more about mirroring the smaller channels like ours, and you know, or maybe we could. I don't know. It's like usually the best ideas. You have to do it
but
yourself.
I think a network would be really interesting. As an idea. And also we are looking for a network or a channel that runs regular content. I'm thinking of like, you know, Real News Network. Even though we're not really interested in working with them, a group like that.
Right.
Okay. That runs their own content, but would be interested in putting a segment of our work in there. The other one that we watch is from RT UK.
Oh, right. So Renegade Inc.
Renegade Inc. Who, they actually do this. They actually put in little segments from other sources. Sometimes it's animation, sometimes it's, you know, whatever. And it's kind of interesting because it adds a new dimension to their piece. So
Oh, and you know who else does it? The Peacock guy.
Peacock guy
out of Australia.
Crow House. Yeah,
Right.
The Crow House.
Right. Max Egan.
Max Egan. Right.
Yeah.
The Peacock guy.
You know, I just like.
Hello, Billy.
Yeah. I mean, he's like. I heard about him through our friend in Florida, so I always defer to Church Dog 42.
Okay.
I try to give those smaller channels more support. You know,
but because he does sort of like what we do here on this show, where he'll put in segments of other videos out there, other content creators out there. And but we put things in to illustrate our point. He just kind of, he does too to some degree, but sometimes it's like he just puts it in just to put it in to show you what's going on out there. So so
that's the goal. The goal is to, you know, expand, coalesce, but also bring people together. Maybe have an established channel that's a network. Where different people come in and bring their expertise about, you know, what's happening in the world. We're all just trying to archive history and, you know, give it some relatable content so that people who don't have a clue what's going on, and there's a lot more. At first I thought, no, there's more of us than them, and actually I think I'm going to backtrack on that and say that there's more people that don't know what's going on than do. So it's really up to us, the small channels, to punch through this and get the message out there.
I agree. And I think it would be interesting if that channel, if that network kind of like just ran just on a regular basis, just like videos that would come in who, you know, made up of the content creators that are part of that network, and just like rotate these videos on a constant basis. So I don't know if it's possible. I don't know these things because I'm not that kind of technical person. I know how to make videos. I don't know how to necessarily, you know, package them together in a network.
Create a network. Well, that's kind of a marketing thing. So maybe.
Well, but there's some technology involved with it too.
There is that. Well, it's an idea, and we are always thinking of new ideas, and that's what we do here on this platform. We never stop. This is our full-time job. We wake up in the morning and we think about the work we do all day long until we go to bed at night.
And sometimes the conversation is from upstairs to downstairs. You know, because we've picked up on the Pittsburgh habit of yelling at each other.
We have to stop that.
It's like, not yelling in a mad way, but like, you know, like a conversational way.
Well, I mean, where we live, it's like the people have full-on like deep conversations from like
across the street,
from like yards and yards away from each other. Hey, did you check out the? No, how about you? It's just, and then the accent you can't understand, but it's just like they have a full-on conversation, and it's like, just walk your ass over to each other and have a conversation. I don't know.
It's funny.
But yeah, so we have a smallish house, but it is 2 stories, and you know, if I'm upstairs and come up with a great idea, I'm like, hey JP, and then he's like, what?
Well, it's a what?
Here.
Huh? What?
What?
Because we're like 5 different,
because we're both deaf because of the 5G, I guess, the tinnitus.
Well, that, or we text each other.
Right, so we text each other. We're like in different rooms.
So I'm sure you guys do that too. But
we do. We also have like a backyard and front yard garden that is flourishing in this weather, and he's up at, between 6 and 7 every day out there in the early morning hours watering everything, and we don't have a hose. So this means he carries watering cans.
And literally carry the water.
Like the old days, he's literally carrying the water, and he's literally taking the watering cans and
So I have
refilling them up.
to fill it up in the basement and take it out to the garden. So
because we don't have enough money to like install a hose.
A hose bib.
mean,
So we need to do that. But we need your funds. Please help us.
Yeah,
We'll do a fundraiser for that.
We are. This is how we make our living. This is what we do. And if you could subscribe to our Patreon page and become a patron for $2 a month, that would make a world of difference. Just $2 a month. We're hoping to reach 20 patrons by the end of this week. We're at 15 now, so we just need 5 more.
Yeah.
$2 a month, $24 a year. That's pretty affordable, I think. And we also have a PayPal page if you want to make like a one-time donation. PayPal.me/Book of Hours. But yeah, so we appreciate the support that we have had so far.
Yes, thank you to everyone who is a patron on Patreon, and thank you to everyone who's been giving us money on our PayPal page. And this has been going back since like January when we first started asking.
Right.
So thank you.
And for those who have shared our work, there's a lot of people who just can't afford anything.
We understand that.
What they've done is they've just said, you guys need to watch this video. And that's why we have that. It's for that very reason that I think communitarianism is our most viewed video, with a couple of thousand or more views on it. It's for that reason and that reason alone. Well, plus David Whitehead helped with that one.
Yeah.
So, it's those people like Scott, everything we make, Church Dog 42, follow him on YouTube if you haven't yet. Every single thing that we make, he shares it.
Yeah.
And that's a huge boon to us, because he's got, he's a Twitter friend. And I kind of want to say, like, maybe even like a real life friend, even though we've never met in person.
Yeah.
He's got the whole rescuing kitten things going on. And, so all of the help for people who just share our stuff and people who provide us with information and give us ideas. Our last video was based on a social media post from one of our biggest fans, Sandra Risk. That animated short that we made was based on somebody else's idea. Like, hey, did you guys hear about this term, resilient cities, that comes out of the Rockefeller Foundation? And we're like, what's this about? So we started doing some research. So if she hadn't said that,
that's true.
We wouldn't have been inspired to make resilient cities. So this is a collective effort. That's why I say we're building a team. We're really,
that is interesting the way you put that. Yeah.
We're building a team.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Anyway, it's been the hour.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Have a good afternoon.
Okay. Cue the music. Bye.
Bye. Book of Hours is determined to remain an essential platform that offers a creative interpretation for lockdown skeptics and experts who have been censored by mainstream press. Thanks to your donations, we can carry on doing this essential work as working artists. These big issues of the day are vital and need to be heard. So please share our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, make a one-time donation on our PayPal page, but most importantly, please be a part of our team on our Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/Book of Hours and hit the blue button titled Become a Patron. Thank you.